Right then, let's dive straight in. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most profound existential mysteries out there, and we're doing it by unpacking the absolutely brilliant lectures of philosopher Alan Watts. We're going to strip away layers of societal conditioning and rethink the very fundamental nature of human existence. It is going to completely change how you perceive reality.
So, let me hit you with a rather strange question right off the bat. Who, or maybe what, exactly are you? Seriously, think about it. Usually, we define the I as this lonely little center of consciousness, a decision maker trapped somewhere inside a bag of skin. We use phrases like, I came into this world, as if we're some sort of internal thinker staring out at a totally alien external reality. There's this massive underlying assumption that we're basically strangers here, isolated and facing off against a world that has absolutely nothing to do with us. But where does that feeling actually come from?
Well, that brings us to Section 1, the illusion of self and how we became so isolated.
And straight into Section 2, two great Western myths, looking at the historical roots of our alienation. To really get to the bottom of this profound sense of isolation, we literally have to look back at the last 2,000 years of Western civilization. We've largely bought into two massively contrasting myths. The first one is the Creator King. This is the idea that the universe is a manufactured artifact. Think of a potter shaping clay figures. God fashions the world, and we're left feeling like we're constantly being watched and judged from above. Now, when that idea started feeling a bit scientifically implausible for folks, we swung completely to the other extreme, the unintelligent mechanism. This is the myth that the universe is just a display of blind, stupid mechanical forces, and human intelligence, well, it's just a fluke, a completely random accident trapped inside this vast, cold gadget. But here is the kicker. Whether you look at the universe as a divine craftsman's artifact or a totally blind machine, both of these myths make humanity feel like an alien fluke that doesn't really belong here.
Okay, let's move on to Section 3, the universe peoples. This is where we see a major shift in paradigm.
So, what is the radical alternative to all this isolation? Well, the crucial realization Watts points out is that we are an organic expression of the universe doing exactly what it was always meant to do. He says that just as an apple tree naturally apples, we are living in a universe which peoples. We weren't just dropped into this world from somewhere outside, we actually grew out of it. We are a symptom of the system. In other words, you are something the whole universe is doing right now, in the exact same way a wave is something the entire ocean is doing.
Watts uses this absolutely beautiful, vivid metaphor of a tornado to explain how this works. Think about a tornado. It dips down out of the sky, becomes a very real, individual, focused entity for a bit, and then it just withdraws. The cosmos is doing the exact same thing with us. It dips down and focuses into an individual, which is what we call birth, and then it eventually withdraws, which is what we call death. But it's doing this constantly all over the place as all of us. You are quite literally a temporary focus of the total cosmos, happening right here and right now.
Which brings us to Section 4, the double bind trap and society's impossible commands.
Now you might be wondering, if we are so deeply connected to the cosmos, why on earth do we feel so incredibly separate from it? Well, it all comes down to the contradictory rules we're fed from childhood. Psychologists call this a double bind. A double bind is when you are commanded to do something that is really only valid if you do it voluntarily. Think about it. It's like a parent demanding, you must love me, or society drilling into your head, you must go on living. Loving, living, even falling asleep, these are all spontaneous processes. The moment society tries to command them, it turns the natural, easy flow of life into an anxious, impossible drag. We literally become paralyzed by the contradiction.
And this double bind creates some deep, deep alienation. Because we are brought up to feel completely isolated, we start believing it is our sacred duty to beat the physical world into submission. Watts notes that the ultimate symbol for this aggressive, domineering mindset is the bulldozer. We use it to flatten out the hills, slap down identical tract homes, and basically scrub away the natural balance. And why? Because we view the external world as a hostile enemy to conquer, rather than an extension of ourselves.
Let's move into Section 5, the unity of opposites. It's time we start redefining our boundaries.
To finally free ourselves from this trap and stop constantly battling our environment, we have to rethink our boundaries completely. Here is the big takeaway. Your skin is not a wall. It isn't locking you in. It is actually a bridge. It's a spongy, porous membrane. You breathe through it. Your nerve endings contact everything outside through it. Your physical existence actually includes the external world. You just have to grasp the basic, fundamental logic
that every inside absolutely must have an outside. They go together. You simply can't have one without the other.
And just like an inside desperately needs an outside, black and white are inseparable brothers. Light and darkness, life and death. I mean, have you ever seen a wave that had a crest but no trough? No, of course not. It's impossible. Existence itself isn't some static state. It is an alternation, a sort of vibration between being and non-being. When we forget this deep connection, we start playing this incredibly anxious game where we worry that nothingness might somehow win. We completely miss the fact that you need both of them for existence to happen at all.
So why do we constantly miss this profound connection? It actually comes down to how our awareness functions. Watts points out that the funny thing about consciousness is it almost exclusively looks outward. It's a lot like the headlights on a car. Those headlights shine brilliantly down the road ahead of you, but they don't shine backward on the wires, and they certainly don't illuminate the battery that's powering them. Our consciousness just doesn't naturally illuminate its own origin.
But if you actually try to look inward, you hit a truly fascinating realization. Try this right now. Look around the room, without a mirror. What color is your head? From your own point of view, it isn't black, it isn't white, it isn't pink or brown. It just has no color at all. You can't even form a visual conception of it. Your center is just pure being. It's this invisible hub from which you experience absolutely everything, and it is completely and directly tied to the rest of the cosmos.
The tragedy is, when we fail to see that we are literally the universe experiencing itself from this invisible center, we end up treating the world like an absolute junk heap. We throw up grotesque structures and destroy our own environment because we simply do not realize that the planet is ourselves. It's like Watts powerfully argues, the very heart of the galaxies and the universe itself, that is actually the middle of you. It's not something distant or far off at all.
So I'm going to leave you with one final profound thought experiment from the lecture. When you try to imagine death, you probably picture being locked in a dark room forever. But remember, darkness requires light to exist. Before you were born, you weren't experiencing endless darkness, were you? So what will it be like to go to sleep and never wake up? Well, the exact corollary is birth. Ask yourself, what is it like to wake up without ever having gone to sleep in the first place? Chew on that for a bit and challenge yourself to finally recognize your true, inseparable place within this magnificent universe. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.